One, two, three, go live.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, and thank you for joining us on Facebook Live here. My friend here, Nicole, she's calling in from Colorado. I imagine it's good weather in Colorado right now, right, isn't it?
Yeah, today was nice. It was like 65, 70 and sunny. Got to wear tank top and flip-flops. It was fun.
You know what's interesting about that is it was cold here, and I'm in Florida, and I was like, what state am I living in again? And I was just like, it is literally, I'm wearing a jacket in April in Florida, which I'm usually wearing shorts most of the year, which, I'm sure you can relate because you lived in the Caymans,
Yeah.
you're usually wearing shorts most of the time. So
That or a
anyhow,
bikini.
yeah, there's some weird stuff going on, which is kind of what we wanted to be talking about tonight. For those of you who are tuning in, we are going to be talking about the current energy. And honestly, some of this I feel like is consistent throughout the year. Just 2017 was really a lot of shadow work, I think, and then this year there's still some ups and downs with energy, but I really feel like it's like our year, and I don't know if you feel it as well, because I feel like some of the stories you're telling me, there's a lot of great things happening, but then there's just like that one little thing that goes, wait, why did that just happen? And then you have to process it. But I think that's like a lifelong thing, is that we're going to be constantly processing and growing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like when these energies are coming in, and they've been coming in really strong, especially through this month of like the latter part of March and through the beginning of April, until now. Like, what day? Oh my God, we're at the end of April already. Time's like flying.
We are.
Oh my gosh. And so the energies have been so intense. Some of the things that I've been feeling are insomnia. I've had like major bouts of insomnia. I never get insomnia. Ringing in the ears, constant ringing in the ears. What else? Really interesting dreams. Really interesting dreams. And so there's been a lot coming in. So when these energies are coming in, I feel like in order for us to go through the upgrades that happen, because the energies carry through the light codes, that we need to clear out more stuff. So you're going to go through bouts of like a bit of turmoil where things kind of feel a bit disheveled in your life, and they come up and they go, and you kind of got to work through it. So it's not all like rainbows and unicorns of, these beautiful ascension energies are coming in and I feel so enlightened and so blissful. Like it's not the case all the time.
Well, and the question is that I would throw out there to everybody is, do you want everything to be blissful? I mean, I know most of you are going to jump up and say, well, of course, are you crazy? I want it to be blissful. But no, you really don't. I mean, there's times, those times that it's not so blissful are our times to grow and really help, ascend into different levels. I mean, there's so many things that we as human beings get complacent. And so, when things get to be so like easy going, I guess, so to speak, we can get complacent in our energy, and, we need those things to kind of like push us into the next level. And so what do they say? Pearls are formed through friction, and they're also diamonds are formed through friction. And so, we need those things to actually, push us.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was talking about with my friend Lisa yesterday was, when you're on such a high, like, because this whole year has been pretty amazing. And I'm just been so super happy, and just things are just amazing. And when you're riding those higher frequency waves for a prolonged period of time, and then something kind of like shakes you, and it just kind of like jolts you out of that really quickly. And when you fall really hard. Like, Lisa and I have both gone through it recently, and whether it's an attack, energetic attack or anything like that, but it's very hard when you're really high and then you fall low. It's hard to pick yourself back up again. When we're up there, we think, oh yeah, all I'm going to need to do is, A, B, and C, and I know all the tools. But like when you're in it and you're in that lower frequency, it's so hard sometimes to pull yourself out. So it's really important to have support around you and people who can really help you, whether it's just friendships or family or some sort of spiritual healers who can help kind of clear your energy out. And I had to get my energy cleared over the weekend and all of that. And it's just, you know, when it takes you down, it can take you down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm just sitting up here real quick. It's nice to do these shows in bed, but then I start getting, my back starts bothering me and stuff like that. So it's interesting. You know, one of the things that I want to talk about, I actually want to talk about 2 books because it relates to what we're talking about. One is this one, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. The other one is going to seem like it's completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but it's called You Can Pitch Anything by a guy named Warren Class. And why the subject is so important is because he talks about our brain. And I was talking about this in my YouTube video yesterday, but basically he talks about what is called the crocodile brain, which is what you and I would call, Nicole, the reptilian brain or the mammalian brain or the lower brain or whatever. And one of the things he's talking about is that we also have the Olympian brain, which is the neocortex. And so why that's super fascinating and what comes from a book called You Can Pitch Anything is because obviously most of you guys know I'm a corporate trainer and I'm developing a sales training for my salespeople. But I don't mind bringing my spiritual metaphysics into the corporate world at times because when I find something that relates. So interesting, when a salesperson pitches something to somebody, they're pitching from the neocortex, from the Olympian brain. And the person receiving it is receiving it with their crocodile brain, their reptilian brain. Why that's important to Ascension and what we're talking about is that when you guys are learning new concepts, the information from the teachers or from higher source or from spirit, it all comes in its process from that higher consciousness or higher brain. Where do you process it and start to bring it in? It's the crocodile brain is right here in the back of your head, and it's right where your spine meets into the brain. It is the gatekeeper into your brain. So in order to get it past this part of the crocodile brain is your fight or flight mentality. So anything that you have as far as old ways of thinking, guess what? The brain starts in that crocodile brain starts, wait a second, new concepts, ascension, you know, letting go of things, being peaceful, loving people. Well, what? And it starts going into this, it'll become disinterested, it'll push it away, it'll disregard it. It'll pick up its iPhone and look at its iPhone instead of paying attention to people talking. It'll do whatever it takes to not have to process that. So until when it gets into the Olympian brain or into that neocortex part, which has discernment and through wisdom and experience, then it starts to go. When that happens, then you start going into, wait, that's when things stop becoming faith; they become knowing. It's like. Nicole and I have gone through some amazing things where we text each other like, oh my God, this just happened. And that's because we're having these experiences that are making our faith and understanding of what we studied no longer become faith and things we've studied. They're becoming actual practical experiences. So that means that our crocodile brain is let go and it's opened up to new possibilities and then our frequency, our vibration, if you guys took our workshop or watched our workshop, leveling up consciousness, and that's when the frequency goes into another level and we start attracting because we attract back what we deserve. And so the energy right now is like one of the things that, you know, I've had some really cool things that have happened this year, and so has Nicole, but then there's been these things that have been, well, we're talking about these like things that go, wait a second, they're challenges. And so that's because it's helping you open up that crocodile brain or that reptilian brain so that your frequency can go into another level so you can attract in better flow, so to speak. So, sorry, that was me nerding out a little bit.
No, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. So it's almost like, so this crocodile brain is kind of like your fear gateway. And if you can, if you have the courage to kind of move through the fear, then you get to bypass the crocodile brain and go into the Olympian brain. Is that what it is?
The Olympian brain. It's actually the neocortex, which we sometimes in metaphysics we call it the Olympian brain, and it's because that's that higher brain or that divine brain that actually has, you know, higher experiences that can connect to source or spirit. And then we can go into negative entities, which I know you've done a really good YouTube video on within the last few months.
I love me some negative entities.
Okay, so think about the crocodile brain and about how we attract what we are. We don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So if you're in this dark frequency, or even if there's some part of your life that's very, very positive, but there's some part of your life that you need to work on, there are still negative entities going in, and you're attracting them in, and they're great teachers for you. They're they're your best teachers. And so then they're here to like almost like make you uncomfortable and depressed and sad, so that you can go and finally you say, enough is enough, I don't want to live here anymore. And so, and then you let go. And then when you let go, and what's the old saying? Let go and let God. I know that really upsets people, but it's just a phrase, people. And it basically it's saying just let go and allow the universe or your energy to bring in what is, you know, what you deserve or what is in flow for you. So, yeah.
And Gracious Love just said, sending blessings to all who read this. So thank you very much for sending us all the love. We appreciate it. And if anyone has questions throughout this, please ask us, because this is why we're doing this, is so that you guys can interact with us and ask us your questions live, and we're happy to answer them. So it's funny that you were talking about the negative entities and how you can attract them in, and you know, sometimes it's just you're attracting in the lesson, not so much the negative entity, but the lesson. And you know, one that I got faced with late last year was I felt like reptilian attack, and so it was two of them. And so I just like imagined myself hugging and squeezing and loving those like suckers, you know, and I said, thank you so much for being here. And I felt them get very uncomfortable, and it wasn't too long until they were gone. And so love is a really good offense, I think.
I agree. Hey Jay, how are you? Thanks for the comment. He just left us some hearts.
Hi, Jay.
So I think that's the most important. There's a movie out, and I think it's called The Host or Species or whatever, and it's about these species or these parasites that get into human beings, and I actually can't remember the name of the movie. But one of the things that happens in the movie is that the humans are trying to surgically pull these parasites out of them because they want it out, and then one of the hosts says, "Wait a second, what are you doing? You're going to kill both of them if you do that." And she actually uses calmness and loving energy. And then the host actually comes right out into this container that she needs to, or this parasite comes out into this container. And what it told me is exactly what you and I would talk about. So negative energies or parasites and that kind of stuff. See, The Exorcist kind of screwed all this up and made it seem like we have to get all a grandstanding and stuff like that. And pray and hold up our crucifix and cast things out and all that kind of stuff. And in a sense that it's true, but it's with love and confidence and empowerment. There's a difference. And so you can say to something, it's like you could say to somebody that's hurt you, say, you know, I don't really appreciate that. Don't do that anymore. I do love you, but I don't want to, that's a boundary, you know? And so what you're saying, you're not saying I hate you and you jerk. You're saying, because what ends up happening if you get angry with somebody, it just throws fuel on the fire. And it's like one of the things I teach managers is like, you know, if managers look at somebody that's not doing their job and they're off talking to other people in the office and they start going, you need to sit down and do your job. What is the person that they're telling that to? They're going to feel micromanaged. And it doesn't even matter if the manager is right. They're going to feel micromanaged. But if you say, hey, so is there anything that I can help you with? Or, you know, is there any work that you need or something like that? Hey, you know, I know just say, you know, we got a lot that get done. You know, anything you need help with, I can help you with, or whatever, trying to find a different way to approach it. Yeah. And most of the time people respond because people know that they're supposed to do their work. But what ends up happening is that if I came to Nicole and say, Nicole, I don't like it when you talk to me like that, she will, well, you talk to me like this, you know. And so, but if I talk to Nicole and say, hey, you know, can we talk about something really quick? You know, so, you know, when you said this, I just don't really understand where that came from, you know, and she'd probably say, I didn't mean it that way. I'm so sorry that it came up, you know, and these are things that you can change. And so, and this is just basic communication. And I think the energy right now is pushing us in that direction. So we really have to start looking at ourselves. I mean, I was just watching a little bit of our last video, which was basically a month ago, because Nicole Nicole was sick at that time. And then guess what ends up happening? I ended up being sick. And then it's funny, I had a new washer and dryer here at the house, and my roommate moved out and all that kind of stuff. And so there was just some things that came up in this last month where we couldn't get it. But anyways, I was just listening to that, and I was like, wow, so Nicole was sick last month, and then I was sick this month. So what is that? And I had sinuses, so that's congested thoughts. So where were my thoughts congested? Where was I not being true to myself, so to speak? So these are questions that we can ask ourselves, and these experiences are coming up.
Yeah.
I think the last time we talked, I had flipped out on all my friends. Then I had to set boundaries.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting because we're talking about like being in the flow and how amazing it is when you are in the flow. And I think like one of the most important things to remember when you're to really find yourself back into the flow, like to kind of like ease your way back in there, is finding like things that really make you happy and doing them. And like that's one of the ways, like if I feel like I'm down in a funk or things just are starting to not go exactly the way I would like them to go, or maybe that's not the right way of saying it, but maybe you like stub your toe, or like you'll slam a door on your finger, or like things that you just wouldn't normally happen, but they're kind of like they're like little wake up calls to let you know like your frequency's out of line, like get it back in alignment. Well, one of the things that I find that really helps is just doing things that make me so happy and joyful. And whether it's like listening to really fun music, or having a glass of wine when I really want to have a glass of wine, meditation, going for a run. Like there's so many different things, like whatever it is that like really kind of makes you happy or puts you in a joyous state, like you just start doing that. And the more you do it, your frequency just kind of like shoots right up, and then you're in the flow, because now you're in super attractor mode, and you're going to start attracting all of that joyful energy into your life, whether it's through people or through opportunities. And speaking of like opportunities, there's just been so many opportunities coming like this year. And one of the things that I'm just so excited about is this cruise that Jeremy and I were doing together, but because of work commitments, Jeremy can't do it with us. So he will be on the cruise though, right? Yeah.
I will be.
Yeah.
So and it's wavesoflight.org if you guys want to check it out.
Yes. So for anyone who's watching, if you haven't signed up already, it's going to be so much fun. I actually just recorded a video with my beautiful committee, and we're releasing that out on Friday. We're giving you a teaser of everything that you can expect on the cruise. It's lots of fun, super high energy. And all you need right now is $100 just to reserve your spot, and then it goes into a monthly payment plan. So lots of stuff going on. Like we're going to be doing cosmic gift attunement. So all of the gifts that you are maybe have laying dormant, we're going to help you activate them. We're going to bring your intuition into higher gear. You're going to find your frequency family. You're going to start finding the support that you need. If you don't have that right now with your friends and family, you're going to find it at this cruise. It's going to be super casual because we're all going to be hanging out for 5 days together. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So look out for that video that's going to be coming out on Friday. It's about a 20 to 30 minute video with me and the Waves of Light crew, and we're going to be sharing some awesome stuff with you. And another announcement that you all who sign up before May 13th definitely get access to a webinar that we're doing in June, and you're going to get free readings. You can ask questions. We'll do like psychic readings for you. We're going to do healing attunement for you on that webinar. So if you sign up, you're going to get instant access to that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We do have a question from Marcus. Hi, Marcus. Oh, I love Marcus so much. He says, what are some techniques?
I have a question too. One more.
He goes, what are some techniques and tools you both use for self-love? Jeremy, do you want to go first?
Absolutely. And then I want to remind me, I have a question for Jay after that, because he has one for us too. So tools we use for self-love. Okay. One of the things, first of all, the question I ask everybody is that, what do you like to do that makes you super, super happy? I mean, is it reading? Is it going out to the park? Is it spending time with your dog? Is it spending time with your kids? Is it spending time with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, reading your book? And so one of the things that we first of all do in our life is that we're so busy with work and everybody else and trying to help everybody else or do things for everybody else, we forget the things that we actually enjoy, and they get pushed to the side. And my father really likes to exercise, goes for a jog, or he goes to work out, And so, what I would think, what I do for self-love is I go out and do things that I really, really enjoy. I love spending time with my dog. If anybody's watched my videos, I have a Rottweiler named Max, and I like to go to the park with him. Well, that's self-love, because one of the things it's saying to myself in my internal world that you matter enough that I'm going to take this time to do something that I actually love and enjoy doing. I actually enjoy doing my videos, and like what I'm doing with Nicole right now. And so this is fun for me. And so I set aside time to do this because I actually enjoy doing my YouTube and Facebook Live videos. So the answer to your question is I would do things that you actually enjoy. Meditate, go for a run, go for a walk, read your books, that kind of stuff, and get out of the routine. There's certain things that we just do. We're in a rut. We have to shake it up a little bit. And so today I knew I was going to be coming and doing this video. So what did I do to talk about spiritual stuff? With a happy hour. So, it was just something that I was just like, why not? Let's go and hang out with some people and enjoy it. And then I forgot to tell you, look at the cool new wine glass I got.
Oh, lovely. I love it.
So treat yourself to something out of the ordinary. About that, the Renaissance Festival, one of the things I like to do is I like to buy wine glasses, and it really made me happy. You're not going to believe it was $40 for it. So at first I was like, $40 for a wine glass. And I was like, wait a second, stop. Practice what you preached. It's not that big of a deal. And it makes me super, super happy. And I thought it'd be great for me and Nicole's videos, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And
so those are things. What would you suggest?
Well, for me, doing these videos, I love doing all of my videos that I put out. I love doing them. They're so much fun for me now. I love talking about spirituality. Anyone who wants to have a conversation with me, that's one of my favorite things to do. Anyone who's willing to go deeper. I was at a bar a week or two ago, and this guy approached my girlfriend and I, and he was kind of hitting on me, but he totally went into spiritual mode and started talking about these all these different kind of esoteric ideas and going into more depth about other things that I'm really fascinated about. And instantly I'm engaged, and it was he totally went from being just another guy who might be hitting on you to this incredibly intelligent, spiritual, fun person I wanted to hang out with. We ended up dancing all night and having a great time. And so talking about spirituality, awesome. I love that. And then hanging out with really good company. I love to cook. I love to entertain for my friends and family, anyone who I really care about. I love to do that. So the more I can do that, the better off. I also love my red wine. So when I'm in the mood and I really feel like having a glass just to enjoy the wine, I love that. I also really enjoy jazz music or something a little bit more romantic. And so even if I'm alone, I'll just do that for myself because I'm a huge fan of romance. And so for me, that's something that I feel is important to me for love. And so I do it for myself, whether it's lighting candles in the bathtub, listening to maybe Sade, whatever it is. These are things that I love to do for myself. And it's really important when you're doing these commitments to you to really honor them and to follow through with them. Because when you're not committing to you, you're not making yourself a priority. And it's very, very important when you're doing these acts of self-love to make yourself number one priority. You always have to make sure your cup is overflowing. I know I've said this before, so that you have reserves to give to others. Otherwise, you're always depleting yourself, and you never want to do that because that's not an act of self-love. And also remember, love is unconditional. Real, true, authentic, pure love is unconditional. So there are no expectations. So allow yourself to do these things without the expectations that it's got to give you a certain outcome or it's got to make you feel a certain way. Just doing it in general, you'll actually feel you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and proud of yourself for doing that for yourself, even if it doesn't necessarily go the way that you hope it does. So I think that those are important things. Did you want to get to Jay's question?
Yeah. Jay's question is, how do you? What are some suggestions you give to help people clear negative energy? And so, how would you like to? Yeah, we should stem from our talking about negative attachments, but how do you help somebody clear negative energy?
Okay, well, is he talking about? Okay, there's two ways. It could be your own personal energy or energy in your space. So You can use sage. You can burn sage. I've been taught to always burn two at the same time. So like sage and maybe something else. I like to use actually myrrh and dragon's blood incense, and so I'll heat them up, and as long as there's two, because one's for clearing and cleansing and one's for blessing, so always try to burn two at the same time. And you go through your home and you just always have the intention that you're clearing the energy. Your intention is so powerful. I can't stress this enough. It's very, very important. Also, if you want to cleanse your own energy, take a sea salt bath. Don't take an Epsom salts bath, take sea salt. And do at least 1 cup of sea salt in your bath and soak in there for 20 minutes. That's really good for clearing your energy. What else? Also, some of the things that I like to do is use visual light in my body and filling my entire body with the violet flame. I love using violet flame of Saint Germain, and watching the flame spread throughout my entire body inside, filling like every cell, permeating every cell. And then I ask for the violet flame to extend beyond my physical body into my mental, emotional, and etheric body. And once it's done that, I envision this huge, beautiful violet flame all around me, and I ask that the violet flame transmute anything and everything that's standing in the way of my ascension on all dimensions, on all levels, through all space and time, past, present, and future. So like those are some of the things that I like to do.
Absolutely. Well, and sage is obviously a big thing. I would keep some of that in your house, and it's really inexpensive to do. I mean, you can do sage bundles, or I do a lot of white sage and stuff like that. And so the other thing I find, and exactly what Nicole was talking about, is with with love and creating that love frequency. That's perfect. And then also, it's one of those things where if your mind, by the way, all of us been in a negative space in our life. We've all had these areas where we've been massively depressed, and it's hard to get out of it. I mean, even right now, I mean, major things could happen to Nicole and I. Knock on the computer. Wait, knock on wood. Major things can happen to us, and as great as we're at right now, it could send us into a really bad depression. And we might, and interesting enough, I've even seen this with spiritual teachers, spiritual masters, where they've forgotten everything they taught and everything they teach. And even if it's just for a short amount of time, but I've seen it go on for like sometimes 2, 3, 6 months. And that's okay, because they're going through that another ascension process where they're learning how to let go. But what happens is that you have to dive into yourself. And that's one of the things about this book is the self-management part. So the first part you have to say is, well, what is it? There's the negative energy of attachments and negative things happening around us, and that toxic energy that's around us. But when it's come to self, then you have to start jumping into your mind and saying, okay, where's that negative thought coming from? And negative thoughts a lot of times are to attachments of things that we have attachments we have to things, and we haven't let go. In other words, I want life to go in this direction. These are my goals, and this is what needs to happen. And it's not going exactly the way I wanted to, and I'm stuck in this idea, or I want to be with this person only, or I want this job and this career, or I want this car, and everything that just seems to be happening to me, and all this other kind of stuff. And one of the things, the fastest way out of it is to just let go and say, okay, well, everything is going to happen exactly the way it needs to happen. It's going to happen perfectly. But what I wanted to kind of share with just a really quick story, I'm going to try to accelerate a little bit, is that if you've known me for a while, most of you know in 2006, I lost literally everything. My house, my car, my boyfriend, my job, everything, all my money, all my savings, even my grandma's engagement ring was stolen from me. I mean, it's just a considerable amount of stuff. So my depression was so low, my self-esteem was so low, and I was in such a bad depression that I would actually try to get up out of bed, and I would fall back into bed. I just did not have the energy to get out of bed. And so I finally just forced myself, because episodes of Judging Amy weren't going to get me out of my depression, because that's what I was watching, is just television. So one of the things I did is I just made myself a commitment to move from the bed to the couch. And I ended up having to move back home with my mother. So here I am, 32, living with my mother, and it was a big blow to my ego. So What did that moving from the bed to the couch do? The only thing it really did is that energy is an emotion or motion. So moving from the bed to the couch was motion. And so then I made myself a commitment to get a shower and then to go apply for jobs or go sell myself as an intuitive and go, audition at places to be a psychic and do psychic readings. And so, and it just was one step at a time, and so I would go out and take my dog to the park as opposed to staying at home. And those are things like if you're in that bad depression, do something, like just do something to move forward. And because nothing's going to happen sitting there on the couch. And what ends up happening is, especially during that time, we were in a bad recession and there wasn't a lot of jobs and people were struggling and people were losing their homes. And it's a pretty common thing. Just sitting at home applying for jobs and the nature of the way our economy is today is not enough. You just have to get out there and you have to start, and no amount of positive thoughts are going to create something new for you. But what you can do is set motion and actually start doing things. Like one of the things that, and I'll wrap this thought up, is that I really love traveling. So in 2011, myself and Julian and Justin Deschamps, we wanted to start traveling. So what we would do is we'd just do these quick trips like 10 miles away and film a video. And was that traveling? Not in the idea of us going to the Bahamas or anything like that, or going to Colorado or Mount Shasta, but then we would find spiritual markers in our area and we would go to those spiritual markers. So what ended up happening? I mean, now Justin's been to Morocco and all over the place. I've been to Mount Shasta. I did 5 trips last year. I'm already booked 2 this year. So what ends up happening is that energy starts moving, and energy follows intentions. So energy always adapts to what the intentions are. I want to travel. And so as you start doing even what you can do, things will start happening for you.
Yeah.
It'll take you all those negative thoughts. So
absolutely. And we also have another question from Summerflower asking, can babies become possessed? What are your thoughts, Jeremy?
Yes, actually they can. Let me premise that a little bit. I mean, does that mean that is it something that they attracted in, so to speak? Because people are going to say, well, how does a baby attract in a possession? Well, remember, if the parents or anybody that's around them is in a bad space. Now, keep in mind, possession isn't the Linda Blair stuff. That it's not the actress stuff. It's not a movie. Possession is a negative energy or negative attachment that is influencing, and it can actually attach onto somebody and actually start to chemically, if it's been there long enough, it can actually become almost a part of that person's consciousness. Typically that for most of us that are in really healthy places in our life, when we have a mild depression, that's not going to happen to us. But if we have somebody that's really in a bad space, like somebody that's really heavily into drugs or that kind of stuff, and they've been there sustained for years, then that could be something that possession or that attachment can actually become a part of their consciousness. Now, let's get to the babies. If they have somebody that's around them that is in such a bad place, and that energy is in there with that baby for a long periods at a time, yeah, it can affect the baby, and it can actually at times be attached to them as well.
It could also be a soul contract with the baby.
Be a soul contract too, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so she's also asking, how can you protect them? So there's a few things that you can do. There are certain crystals that you can use. I would start putting crystals around the crib, and look for specific crystals that intuitively feel right to you, ones that are absorbing of negative energies and also shunning of negative energies. I would also do some energy work in the area to clear the space, and you could also do a saltwater bath for the baby, like sea salt. What you can do is you can actually take a small bowl You can take a small bowl or a mug and fill it with water and sea salt and place it under the crib, and that helps to absorb negative energies. And hold a very positive space for the baby when you're around. Do as much as you can energetically to hold a very positive space, and let the baby know how loved it is. Because if you can increase the frequency of the baby and how it feels in love, it makes it very uncomfortable for whatever entity is in there to remain in there. So that's what I would offer. But Jeremy, what else would you do?
Well, I was going to say, I'm assuming that there actually is a baby that is experiencing or has some stuff that this parent or loved one is questioning. I'm assuming that that's happening.
It sounds like it.
So why don't we do right now, everybody that's listening, let's connect and just, feel light around this child. We don't have to know what the child looks like. We just have to know that there is a child or a baby or a young soul or a soul that needs us right now. Let's connect our heart space to them. I mean, I can already feel Nicole. Oh my God, Nicole. And I can feel all the rest of you. So let's connect that heart space and let's ask whatever you pray to, God, Goddess, universe, consciousness, super consciousness, whatever. Let's ask it to cleanse this child in the highest and best good. And if there is any soul contracts, to ask them to be cleared, any karmic ties to be cleared. And let's just ask that to happen in the highest and best good of all parties. And let's see this child as the divine child of the universe or of God, and see it in a perfect golden state.
Yeah, and bring in some white light around the baby, and then like a flash of white light just to cleanse and clear. Bringing in the golden energy that Jeremy was just talking about to penetrate the baby's entire being. Bringing in Sananda, bringing in Archangel Michael to be there with the baby, and also bringing in a shield of titanium around the baby once it's been cleansed and cleared, that the titanium is impenetrable to all imperfect and impure frequencies. Asking Archangel Michael to use his blue sword to cut any cords that are attached to any negative entities or thoughts, words, actions from anyone around the baby. Allowing those cords to fall to the ground and watching them wash away through seawater on the beach, watching the waves take the cords away to cleanse and clear. You're welcome, Summer. She says thank you. She says the baby acts weird around Grandma.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Well, I hope everything works out, Summer.
Yeah. Just hold space, and you can rewatch the video and just do some of the energetic work that Jeremy and I have done. You may want to do that with your grandma as well, if that's the case. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, but hopefully that helps. And whoa, my head is just like...
It went big. I started to get lightheaded, yeah.
Whoa. There's a lot of energy coming out from there now. Yeah. So, okay.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah. So this is something that everyone can do, just tap into your own energy, go into your body and know what it feels like, and start paying attention to your soul language. Start paying attention to where you feel tingles, where you feel heat, where you feel coolness, where you feel dampness. There's a lot of different sensations that you can pick up on. Just start paying attention to them. Don't worry about what they mean. Just start paying attention to this. So you go into your body and you start understanding what energy work feels like. So.
Yeah. Well, and this stuff is such a practice too. I mean, it's like I've been now practicing energy work now since I want to say like 2004, and it's every year or every day I learn something new, and I see a new technique or a new way of doing things, or I realize that there's something that I haven't looked at. And interesting enough, there is things that I don't know if you guys have experienced this, like things that you think you've let go of, like or you've done the work on 5 years ago or 10 years ago or even 15 years ago, and it's coming back up. You're like, whoa, wait, I thought I covered this. And it's because there's layers. And so, and because there's layers, it's like we're peeling back that piece, those layers of the onion, and it gets deeper and deeper and richer and richer. And so, don't beat yourself up that you're having something come up that you dealt with, 5, 10, 15 years ago, or even 6 months ago. It just means you're peeling back another layer. And so it actually means that you're doing the right things, that layers are being peeled back, and now you get to look at it again and clear it on an even deeper level. So,
yeah.
So, good stuff.
Thanks, Summer, for asking. And she says she's protected. She just wants to know because she goes after her now. So, you just follow your intuition. Let your higher guidance come through and just listen to it and pay attention to it and act upon it. Every time you act upon your intuition, you strengthen it. So very important to do.
Yeah, and by the way, Erica wanted to know about the cruise. And Erica, I hope to see you on the cruise. That would be awesome. So yeah. I sent her the website.
Come on the cruise, Erica.
It's gonna be a party.
It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah,
we're actually gonna do a UFO sighting night, where we all go up to the pool deck and we call upon our galactic families, see if they'll want to do a little light show.
Do you know, I did this really funny thing when I was on my very first cruise, because going to Cozumel, you go right by Cuba, like you're like really close. And I remember checking in on Cuba on my phone, and somebody said, "You're in Cuba?" And I'm like, and that was before the whole lift on being able to travel to Cuba happened. And I was like, "Yeah, sure I am. I'm on a ship like 20 miles away from Cuba, but yeah, I'm here." So that's one of the things I love cruises. If you haven't been on a cruise, it's like literally the best thing in the world to do. I just want to do a transatlantic one where I'm going to go and take the cruise across to Spain. I'm already planning past the cruise, a trip to maybe Spain or Rome or something like that for next year. So it's going to be pretty incredible.
Italy. It's one of my favorite countries. Italy and
yeah, and that's one thing I want to tell you, people out there, is like, take this time. Like, one of the things that I just made a commitment to, and I pretty much live my life this way anyways, but I'm like, on a deeper level, I just made a commitment to myself that I'm just going to live for me. And Nicole knows what I've gone through in the last month, and like all these lessons we've all just gone through. And I mean, it's just like, I've just shed this and lifted this huge, more bricks off of my shoulders, so to speak, and allowed myself to be even more free. So I just started looking at travel packages to Spain and Rome and stuff like that. And whoever wants to come with me, I'm totally would be down with anybody coming with me. Like, Nicole, if you want to go with me to Rome, it'll be awesome.
Any opportunity I can go to Italy, I don't ever turn it down. I think that's the country I've been to the most. In Italy, because they have a very good vino and really good cheese and olive oil and olives. Like they're all about
Italian man.
Yeah, well, I'm not so. No offense to any Italian men out there, but they like to stray. So not huge fans of that. Dated one, wasn't a good experience, but love the food and love the amore of the food and the family values. I love that. It's just, oh my gosh, there's just so much love that goes into their food and family time. So I love that.
I do. I love Italian food. It's like the best thing. Oh, Erica says she's in for the cruise. So, Erica, I'm going to be putting my deposit down probably this week. So hopefully, if you put it down, it's $100 deposit, and then you can make payments up until September.
Oh no! And then the cruise is October, all the way up to October.
Is it October?
Is it
October? Okay.
October 15th. So love to see all of you guys there. It's honestly going to be so much fun. And it's just going to be so interactive, really interactive. We have so many great things planned, and a lot of that information is going to be coming out in the video on Friday, so I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, anyone who signs up before May 13th, though, gets in on the June 9th webinar, where you get free psychic readings, you get free energy healing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's going to be really fun. So really hope that a lot of you guys come, and we really want to build like a community around this, and take it out on the water, where like all that awesome high frequency negative ion energy is, and you don't have those EMF frequency waves bombarding all that other stuff. So,
well, can I just say this too? Like, this is something that I've been wanting to do for like years, and then Nicole just called me up and says, "Well, I met this guy. He's my Uber driver, and he wants to do it." And then my friend Monica, she's been wanting to do it, and she's been pushing me. And then I've always had this issue with work-life balance where I'm doing too much, and so we started out on it, and then I started this job, and it's just been really, really, really busy at this job. I'm designing like all new training and stuff like that, and so it's really been really time consuming. So like when I leave work, I'm like, my mind is fried, and there was the commitments that we were supposed to getting done, and I wasn't getting done. But I didn't tell you all that to make excuses. I was just saying the synchronicity of this cruise is amazing. I mean, the things that have just come together. And even then, I told Nicole I couldn't be on the committee, and and she was like totally fine with it. And literally within like a week, like the website was up, everything was up. They had the cruise book, they had the one set up, everything. So it was just like that release, and everything just moved together. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I can still go on this cruise and enjoy being with all my friends. And that was the whole reason why I would do it in the first place. I just wanted a cruise so I could hang out.
Yeah.
And so. And I was like, and I love being a speaker, but I don't even care about that. I just want to go and hang out. I love cruises. I love traveling, and that is just like my biggest thing in the world. I had somebody comment on one of my Facebook posts because I was in Belize. And they were like, "You sure get around a lot."
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like,
okay, I gotta stop you because everyone needs to know this. So Jeremy's coming on the cruise, and we're doing Cozumel. So there's Mayan ruins there, and Jeremy has a very strong connection to the Mayan culture. I as well. That was the first, aside from Egypt, the Mayan culture I connected with without even knowing what the Mayan culture was. My tattoo that I have on my body is Mayan. And anyone who wants to go to the pyramids, we're going to be going. And if we have the opportunity, Jeremy, like maybe we can do an activation.
That would be amazing, and let me, in my affinity to the Mayan ruins, and I would love to do an activation. Maybe we can plan that together. But my mother was a Mayan shaman, and so interesting enough, that apprenticeship is being released for the first time in 5 years at the Sentient Temple here in Tampa, where my mother was trained in the Mayan culture and the shamanism. And her mentor lived in Honduras for 10 years, apprenticing with Mayan shamans. And so, anyways, that's being released in May. So I'm actually considering taking it. And the course is the apprenticeship. But my point is that, so I'm getting ready to go on this cruise in December. And I went to Chichen Itza back in 2016. But this time I'm going to go to Belize and Cozumel to the Mayan ruins there. And I hear my mother in spirit. I get this book about the Mayan culture, by a guy named Hunbut's Man, and he was published by Barron Company, and it was basically about a whole bunch of stuff about the Mayan culture. But my mother says to me in spirit, "Take that book with you," and I'm like, I don't know, I'll just read that when I get back. And my mom's like, "You're going to see Mayan ruins, Jeremy. Take the damn book with you." And so I was like, "Okay, well, fine, I'll take the book." Well, I had this profound spiritual experience on this cruise, and like I had went through this huge ascension while I was there, and all this kind of stuff. And then I got back, and like the whole world just went like that, just went into high gear, and a lot of things just I had to let go of a lot of things, and everything just went in a different direction. And like ever since that moment, and I'm glad I took that book, because that book tied all that energy together of being at those ruins in Belize and in Cozumel. And the ruins in Cozumel are like the Jerusalem of the Mayan culture. So it's basically this huge energy spot. And you can, if I would love for us to go to Chief Needs to do an activation. Usually when you go there or to one of these places, we might have to find a place where we have some time. You'll only get like 45 minutes. But like if we have our small group, we can tell the tour guide, hey, we're going to do something while you're doing the tour. And Chief Needs, the energy is incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Okay, let's work on that. We're going to try and make that happen then. If there's anything that if I have my hand in it, I'm going to make sure it happens.
By the way, I think Marina, Marina,
yeah, it's going to happen. So,
I think Marina Jacoby is watching, by the way.
Hi, Marina. Oh my gosh, Marina's going to be, she's one of our keynote speakers. Oh my God, I love Marina. Marina has such incredible knowledge and wisdom and insight to share with all of us. She just is really helping bring this idea of living from the heart versus anything else third dimensional, so that when we're going through this ascension process and we're moving into fifth dimensional Earth, she's giving us all the protocols to use right now so that we can live our life like we are already in 5D Earth. And it's so powerful. And she's going to be there as one of our keynotes, and she's going to teach us all how to do it even further. There's going to be frequency attunements. It's going to be so amazingly powerful. Marina, hi, honey. We love you. So happy that you're joining us. It's going to be so great.
It's going to be a fun time. So anything else we want to talk about in the last few minutes?
Oh, gosh. What else? If there's anything that I can say, if you really want to move into high vibe, you want to be in your energy flow, do fun things. If it's not fun, ask yourself why you're doing it. It's so important to enjoy life, to find that childlike wonderment, to find that pleasure within, to really explore through the eyes of a child life. Like, don't forget, go into that inner child that we often forget about, and use that energy to really explore your now, explore your world right now, and you'll just be amazed at how everything just shifts into such an incredible timeline that is so supportive, that is so abundant, and really just allowing you to live from that best version of yourself. Sorry,
I agree. And that's one of the things that...
No, I was just saying, Jeremy, you yawned, so I was like, oh, I bored him.
Oh, sorry. You distorted a little bit. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, I'm sorry I yawned. What I will share with you about having fun, I literally have that philosophy, and I've had it for a while. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. Now, I've throughout time gotten different levels of fun, and some things that I thought were fun are no longer fun, and I've had to let go of them because we change as we get older, as we do go through different parts of our life. Your life is dynamic, and you're dynamic. So just remember that that's all going to change. But there's just so many cool things. One of my favorite types of music, and people laugh at me all the time, is I love trance music and EDM. And they're like, and they just stare at me, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I also like classical. I like jazz. I like heavy metal, and all that kind of stuff. I love music. I absolutely just love music. And I'll actually get into my little Kia Soul and drive to Orlando, listen to EDM, and then I forget that I'm doing 90. And I'll be like, oof, probably need to slow down. But these things are just fun. And laugh. There's just so many things to be laughed about. And I'm going to tell you what, there are times where we just take life too seriously. One of the first sentences in one of the chapters of my book is sometimes we're just drama queens. I mean, literally, including me, I'm a drama queen. And why are we drama queens? It's because we take life so freaking seriously. And so most of the things that you find are upsetting right now, in a year or even in a week, you're going to look back at it and you're going to be like, I can't even believe I was upset about that. It's going to be so insignificant. So true. As a matter of fact, there's times where my mind starts to go into I call it the mind poison, or I actually call it the motherfucker. It's this part of my mind that starts to go in, and I can't believe she just talk to me like that. Who does she think she is? Does she even know who she's talking to or he's talking to? And so that part of yourself is literally, you could stop and say, wait a second, what is your issue? What's going on? And then when it actually starts to huff and puff inside of you, because you can literally hear your whole thoughts going, and then you can just kind of laugh at yourself, and it's okay. Laughter is a good thing. And what happens is that inner part of your voice, that inner child, you haven't paid attention to it at all. You've just been ignoring it. And then it throws massive temper tantrums. And if you just have fun and laugh and enjoy yourself, and then pay attention to it when it does flare up and throw a temper tantrum and say, wait a second, I love you. What's going on? And then when it starts throwing all of its stuff, it's like, if anybody's a parent, like, I'm not a parent, but like when I've dealt with little kids and they say, they get all upset, I have trouble not laughing. Like when one of my closest friends, 7-year-old, flipped somebody off and I was in the back seat, I fell onto the back seat dying. She goes, stop laughing. I'm like, it's hysterical because you're the one that taught it to her. And she was like, because kids don't pick up flipping people off by just picking it up. They learned it from the parents or grandparents or somebody in their life that was doing it. And that is freaking hysterical. I mean, that's just the funniest thing. People, well, children shouldn't cuss. Well, they're going to grow up to be adults and cuss. I mean, are you really that mentally retarded? And it's like, well, no, I'm embarrassed when my child cusses. Well, then don't cuss around them. I'm like, what are you doing? Be an example. My mother used to say blast all the time. And if they do, just laugh. So anyways, lighten up. I was on my soapbox.
Yeah. And Bee Blooming just told me that she can totally relate to you.
Oh, really? Well, let me see if I have any last minute comments in here. But
so thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We try to do these every other week. Unfortunately, I got sick, Jeremy got sick, and then his washer machine exploded. So
literally, it freaking exploded.
Yeah. So we got delayed.
But all right, guys, check out Nicole's website at
inflexiblememe.com. If you want, I've got a new video coming out. I might release it tonight. I might release it in the morning. I don't know. But it's all about your authentic superpowers and how it exposes false light and deceivers. So it's a fun video I did today. So I'm releasing it either tonight or tomorrow morning. And then Friday, check out the video for the Waves of Light committee. We're going to be talking to you all about what we're doing, so really excited about that. And if you need any more information, please head on over to the website wavesoflight.org to reserve your ticket. If you have any questions, you can send them into our email, wavesoflight1111@gmail.com. That's it.
Absolutely. And then if you want to check out my website at www.jeremymcdonald.net, I just posted a new video yesterday, and it is titled 64% of Americans actually don't know what their emotions they're experiencing and why they're reacting the way they do. And I go into a lot of stuff on emotional intelligence and how we can actually look at our emotional responses. And I talk a lot more about that crocodile mind that I was talking about at the beginning of the show tonight. So,
cool.
Everybody, peace.
Okay, bye, everyone.
And have an amazing night. Bye-bye.